Hey, what's going on, y'all? I want to talk about this Robin Thicke issue that's going on with him supposedly or accused of stealing Marvin Gaye's song "Got to Give It Up" and opposed to his new single "Blurred Lines." And I got a chance to listen to both of them. Matter of fact, I'm a Marvin Gaye fan. I love old school music. And especially that era in the 90s, and some of the new stuff I like too. But it's a big controversy out with him supposedly stealing certain samples and certain kicks and drums from that particular record. And what Robin Thicke has done is he's gone out and basically tried to beat Marvin Gaye's family to the punch, which I already know his publicist and his manager probably said, let's go out and let's file a lawsuit first, so it can be more in our favor, which is bullshit, but okay. But basically he's went out and he's filed a lawsuit to protect the Blurred Line single. And when you listen to these two tracks, and if you guys want to check it out, just, Google search, whatever. Listen to Marvin Gaye's "Got to Give It Up," and then go and listen to Robin Thicke's. And when you listen to both of those records, you can tell that he definitely sampled Marvin Gaye's record. And here's the thing that a lot of people don't understand that are not in the music industry. Anything that you use, especially when you're on a record label and you're putting out an album, or whether it's a EP or LP or whatever, any sample that you use or voice overturns or anything, you have to get it clear. And that's part of what I do, as far as in the industry. My job is to take an artist, develop them, market them, and then when they go into the studio and they start to create the album, I have to make sure certain samples and certain things get clear before we release it to the public, along with other things. But I just wanted to give you a brief intro of what I do. And anytime you use someone's work or you sample their music, you have to get it clear. And a lot of times what artists are doing, which is why you see a lot of artists making mixtapes, is when you make a mixtape, you don't have to get things clear because you're not making the profit that you can make on it from an album or something like maybe an EP or LP. And plus the record companies want to protect their ass, so they're not going to release anything that you're using a sample, especially if it's a dead on sample or something that people can clearly tell, okay, you borrowed from this particular record. They don't want to risk anything, which is why I'm surprised that the record company let Robin Thicke do this song without getting it cleared. But that's a whole nother topic. Somebody wasn't doing their job. But my opinion on it is, give that family the money for the clearance, clear the song. I believe Robin Thicke is on Interscope. I know, he might have a distribution deal with Interscope, but he's on another record label too. I think it's a joint distribution deal, but they have enough money to get the sample cleared. And I don't know if they thought maybe this track was gonna go on a mixtape, and maybe they didn't have T.I. and Pharrell on it at first. It was just Robin Thicke, and they were gonna put it on the mixtape and then get it cleared, and some jackass didn't do their job and put it on the album and without the sample getting clear, which is still not their particular own fault, because anytime you release an album off a record label, what you have a whole bunch of managers, you have a whole bunch of executives and A&Rs basically sitting at a table, or you go to a listening party or something like that, and they'll listen to the album. And part of that is to get a feel for the album, see if it's ready to hit the market, listen to certain samples, make sure everything is legit before it's released to the public. And I just think it's wrong to steal from Marvin Gaye's artistry and what he gave to R&B music. I've never really been a big fan of Robin Thicke. I like maybe that very first record he came out with. I think it had Pharrell on it. That one was pretty cool. That was like maybe 3-4 years ago. And you know, other than that, I've never really been a Robin Thicke fan. But when you go out and you steal from the greats like Marvin Gaye, Curtis Mayfield, which I am a huge fan of Curtis Mayfield, you know, Michael Jackson, Aretha Franklin, Anita Baker, Whitney Houston, you know, those greats. When you go out and you steal their work and you don't give them the recognition as well as the money that you need to pay for using their work or using their samples, that's disrespectful and it's foul. And I know them record companies got enough money to pay them people all and say, hey, you know, we using your sample or whatever, or we want to borrow something from Marvin Gaye or, you know, this particular movie or whatever. They have enough money to get the clearance done on those type of records. But for whatever reasons, maybe they just didn't want to pay. Or I don't know what's going on, but it's disrespectful. And I don't blame Marvin Gaye's kids for coming out and saying, hey, well, we coming after your ass. Because, hey, if you use the man's sample or you use his work, you got to pay the price. Nothing is free in America. But, you know, that's basically my opinion on it. You know, I don't know who wasn't doing their job. And, you know, we get songs all the time that, you know, people sample other people's songs. Like one song, an example that had a lot of controversy behind it was what's that character that dude looked like Jerome from Martin, Trinidad James, that Joker, and he came up with that song that goes on my wrist, no, that bullshit, which I thought the record was trash, but whatever. He sampled from this song that I think Too Short and Daz did. It was back in the 90s, and when they heard the song, they was like, wait a minute, that sounds like that joint we did. But again, that was another controversy. He was saying, oh, well, you know, I didn't know, or maybe the producer knew and he just didn't tell me. And you have a lot of producers that do it. They steal stuff from other artists and think nobody's going to pick it up because, oh, they did their music back in the 70s or they did it back in the 60s. Anytime you come out with a single that's going to be played across the world, you better get that shit that clearance. And you better get the sample cleared. Because if you don't, you are facing a lawsuit. So, you know, that was another controversy. And when you listen to those records, you could tell that Trinidad James and the producer, whatever, they bit that beat that Daz and Too Short did. So, you know, this happens all the time. But it's just, you know, some people try to be slick and they try to get away with it. And, you know, if you don't want to get samples cleared or go through the necessary procedures to get those type of things done, then just stay doing mixtapes. You know, don't try to do a main album. Just do the mixtape, which again, that's why I say you have a lot of artists doing it, because you don't have to go through all the clearance and the phone calls and, you know, all the different ins and outs to get certain things done when you're just doing a mixtape. That's why you have artists that have dropped 10 mixtapes within a year. But that's all I gotta say about it. You know, pay that man. You know, stop stealing shit. Come up with your own style and be original. Stop biting. But I'm out, man.